The
All
blackest
right.
thing Caleb's ever said.
Oh shit.
Clear. We are live in 3, 2.
Hello and welcome back to Resurgence YGO, and we are back with another episode of Anything in Standby, where we definitely have not had a lost episode between the last one and this one. Maybe 2 episodes, actually.
I think it was one, maybe.
The length of time? It's got to be
I
at least one.
have exciting news. We are joined today by special guest Drake. Drake, say something. Say hi to your fellow people.
Which one's
You're
Drake? Hey, that's Drake.
You
Yo,
hear
wait a minute.
You hear it in the background first. That's it.
Anyway, I'm once again joined by 5 of the friendliest people I've ever met. Austin, say hi.
Right as I take a bite,
he's
you're
the
sick in the
friendliest.
head.
Yep.
You're twisted.
All right, we'll come back to you. Grant, say hi.
Hello. Hey guys, what's up?
Well, anyways, yeah. What's up, guys? My name.
You're
Friendly sounding gentleman. You're
Sarkis wasn't gonna let me not do it. I gotta do it one time. So.
One time for the one time. And then we are also joined by Nico. Nico, say something.
¿Cómo estás, amigos?
Oh my gosh.
I should maybe mention that I think I found Nico's mom on Instagram on accident. A
Yo.
conversation for another time.
I'm gonna leave.
Also, I don't know if we should be saying that kind of stuff, Nico. Given everything going on in the world. Sarkis, say something. Say hello to your fellow people out there. You have a
You're
fan base now.
number 3 friendliest person in Resurgence YGO. What to do?
And once again, joined by our fearless leader, the handsomest boy that's ever lived. Hi, it's me, Caleb. No, Alan. Say hi, Alan.
Hi, it's Alan, the unfriendliest member of Resurgence YGO.
Damn.
Okay.
He's owning it.
No, I'm not messing.
All right, so after that electric opening, we're professionals here. We have a couple things to go over today. It's been a while, so we're just catching up on the BS that's been happening in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And first thing I'm going to pose towards the group is, are bridges good for the game? I'm going to talk to our structural engineer himself, Grant. How do you feel about bridges?
Wait, why don't we talk about upcoming events first so that people have an idea in time where we're at, okay? So as the time of recording, this is April.
I don't know, man.
We got the next big event is the 3v3 YCS in Vegas in 2 weeks, okay? So we're well underway into the B Pro format. We've seen a lot of decks come out of the woodworks, decks that on paper should never work together, absolutely, dominating the meta. Therefore, the first question posed to the group should be, are bridges good for the game?
See, I was afraid about you. I was afraid of this being tied too close to current events because that would end up dating the video, which means when we try to upload it 2 months from now. So I think we should actually start with a banlist prediction. I think that'd go really well. We should
It could be applicable at any time.
Okay, so all right. Well, my take on bridges is pretty cold. I've been a little bit on a. God, can I even call it a tear? Because half of the time I just fucking up with them. Not gonna lie. I think bridges are good sometimes. Asterisk. I think where we're at currently is here's the sun and here's us, and we're pretty close to the sun at the point of what bridges are capable of doing with the game. I don't think we should be being able to play a V6 type of deck at the moment. Shout out Caleb Carlson, really bringing it home with what is the give us a little taste. How many archetypes have you been rocking with lately?
Well, I just last night cut it down to 5. But it's Magnet Warrior, Fiendsmith, Ryzeal, Magnet Warrior, Fiendsmith, Ryzeal, and
Sky Striker,
Vanquish Soul, K9. There's also Fallen of White Albaz in there.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah. So there's some BS going on.
So maybe the game shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's my that's my limit. I found my limit personally. I feel like we could probably say Mitsu Yummy, for example. It was a powerful deck. I mean, it was running what, 2 engines that can go back and forth.
Mhm.
It really, I mean, God, it just depends, doesn't it? But
It just got
wherever
Oh, I
we're at
forgot about
currently, I think it's a
Mitsurugi.
little too far.
I forgot about
you
Mitsurugi.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got the Mitsus in there. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're up to V8 now.
So I think it's just bridges allow for a good share of creativity, but
I mean,
with creativity comes responsibility, I guess, right?
I think it'd be interesting too if when we're all answering the question, just kind of go over what your experience with like bridging has been recently, and how in depth have you gotten? Because I do want you to admit to your sins publicly, Yu-Gi-Oh or otherwise. Just go ahead and own up to those.
Yeah, please share with us.
So what is
So
your
was,
experience with bridging, cards and bodies?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it was a
Bodies
dark and
bridging.
stormy night. It was the total OTS.
Yo.
Cut.
We're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. Wait.
Yeah, we're
yeah,
talking
Dark
about
Stormy
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Night.
Come on now.
Hey,
Let's be responsible here. Holy shit. Calm
Hey,
down.
Nico, what do you? How do you feel about bridges in the game?
Oh, bro, what do you, bro? It was just getting hot, bro. Let him continue, bro.
You don't want to.
That's for the Patreon episode when they start paying us. We ain't releasing that shit unless we getting paid. So Grant, talk about Yu-Gi-Oh bridges.
The Patreon series will be called something in standby.
Oh my.
Oh man. I mean, I don't know. I think the best experience I had with a deck that had a pretty heinous bridge was the Azumina Yami deck. Before it kind of gained some traction, I was in the tank with the deck a little bit. Not gonna say some other people didn't create the deck, but I was in the early adoption / engineering phase. We were ahead. So,
Stephen Trifanowski, never heard of him.
All right, so this is what we're going. We should pivot the stream into how many popular YouTubers / players can Resurgence YGO get in beef with.
Mm-hmm.
So we got one down. I think
Only the
Ross
bad
good
ones.
start.
Yeah.
Only the bad ones. Okay. Well.
Okay, so that's your experience with bridging, and then you were saying maybe the game shouldn't do that. Are you now? What's your reasoning behind that? Do you feel like it puts what is the strain of bridging on the game at a competitive level?
Well, I guess there's a little bit of back and forth, right? It depends on how much they can cause, the deck to be insulated in terms of interruptions. I think the Dia Bellstar being able to, turn off Nib, practically speaking, plus another hand trap to be able to force the Yummy combo through is a little bit too uninteractive. Bridges can sometimes, I think, have a bit of a positive effect because they can create really solid choke points where hand traps previously might not be able to answer some of those things. But for example, in the Yummy Azumina deck, Ash Blossom is normally not very good in the grand scheme of things. But being able to Ash Blossom, say the Arciela when they go to add the LZ Azumina, I mean now it's you've actually created a good point of interaction. So it's just, God, it's a big mess, isn't it? I mean. But that's kind of where I stand with it. I don't think it's a necessarily positive thing for the game. I think having that bit of creativity is interesting to see, but there's a limit, right? I think the ceiling is a little too high in a lot of these decks. I mean, that once again, that's kind of a cold take, but
yeah,
just my thoughts. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to get everybody's opinions here because we have folks here who are in the lab constantly doing a lot of the experimentation that leads to these deck menageries, but then we also have folks like our resident Poseidon, who has really been a purveyor of the single archetype for so long, and they know that archetype very well. So it'll be interesting to hear.
I disagree. I think Mermail was the first bridge deck.
Oh,
Me too, naturally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because everything's water at the end of the day.
It is, but it's Atlantean and Mermails.
Oh, true, exactly.
True.
Yeah, you're actually
However,
patient zero, Circus.
That is true, but to
that's
be
a good
fair,
segue.
Konami
So
did release the Shadow Squad and Ryan, which are both Mermail and Atlantean. So is it 2 or is it now 1? Water mixes, you know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, what? So, as somebody who has played the same attribute of cards across their entire deck, what did like? How has playing against bridges been in your experience?
I mean, I feel the way I've enjoyed playing Mermail throughout Mermail's time in Yu-Gi-Oh has always been putting bridges within the deck itself. Like I played Nightmare Mermail when it was a thing. I played Zoo Mermail when it was a thing with Zodiac. I played a lot of different iterations. I even tried out Nekroz Mermails. I played Gishki Mermails. Any type of Mermail deck that you could think of that shouldn't go with another deck, I'd probably try to make work at least once, assuming there aren't restrictions within those other archetypes. Now with Power Creep in 2026 though, there's no restrictions anywhere. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, and I think a lot of these slop decks that grant special, I think they're a little too far and a little too lost in the sauce, you know. And I think kind of with Caleb was saying, once we hit V8, V9, V10s, that's just too much. That's just too much. So
Problem. Yeah.
yeah, that's a problem. I think more restrictions in Yu-Gi-Oh is something that is mandatory.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you feel, because I guess with Mermail, right, one of the big pieces of the deck is that the archetype itself locks you.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like the deck is appropriately locked, or do you feel like you're unjustly locked at certain points or based off certain cards?
I think when they released the cards that locked Mermail into summoning waters, they also released Fiendsmith. And they probably didn't think far into the future over, maybe they didn't care about supporting a 13-year-old deck compared to a deck that just came out, right? But there's certain locks that are in the game for certain decks that just give it an unfair disadvantage compared to other decks, right? So Mermail, you're locked into water, so I can't go into other cards on my extra, or splash in other engines, but Fiendsmith, Yummy, like all these other archetypes, they don't really have any locks. And if they do have locks, they're soft locks that you can play around that don't really, interrupt your strat or anything like that. So I think it's fair. You got to make money, you got to sell the new product. So it's understandable. There's no locks like that for all these newer decks, but definitely a disparity between them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, definitely. Alan, as somebody who's kind of ventured between decks that are both locked and decks that have the ability to bridge pretty heavily, what has your experience been? Because I feel like you have, you've really branched across the entire spectrum and had success with both of them. Which way do you lean, and what do you want to see going forward?
Yeah. I was also an enjoyer of the Yummy Azamina kind of like D-mod stuff first when Grant and I were like looking at that stuff and kind of planning it earlier than some others. And the deck is really good, and I think bridging's really cool. But then it gets to a point where we're kind of losing the plot, is my way of putting it, because I feel like my favorite version of like enjoyable Yu-Gi-Oh and good competitive Yu-Gi-Oh is where decks are strong in what they can do, but like now decks can be strong in doing other things. Like they have like how, let's see, there's the old kid toy where you can fit a circle. You can't fit a circle in a square hole. Well, now you can, because I could play Mitsurugi, Sky Striker, Ryzeal, fucking you name it. Like, yeah, and it will be fine. You don't get punished. There's no punishment there. You just can do literally whatever you want. And honestly, personally, like I don't find that super enjoyable. I think like decks that are meant can do what they sought out to do, or like play within their archetype and they're strong. Maybe like I don't even mind like right now I'm playing Mitsurugi Ryzeal, because I feel like I played pure Mitsurugi for a while and that was cool. And the non-engine could play, but I felt like it wasn't enough. So playing two engine decks like Mermail Atlantean, even in the past, right, have been a thing, and those are fine. But I think once we pass a certain point, we're missing the plot of like, or the point of these archetypes. So at that point, then they're just gonna make everything generic. And then what's the point of archetypes? You just always print generically good cards. But archetypes are cool because they do cool stuff that are niche or like kind of a little bit gimmicky, but like are cool to what they can do. So
Yeah,
I think
we're playing goat format.
I want strong decks again. And hopefully our next format is going to be like 3 strong decks that can do their own thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when Yu-Gi-Oh's at its most fun for me.
Well put.
Yeah, so I'll go back to the faceless voices in the void, especially the one from the Peanut Gallery, Nico, who, if any of you are checking your group chats right now, he will not be on the show going forward because I will actually kill him. If you, Nico, as somebody who's also like Caleb been in the game for a considerably long time, you've seen the game evolve in so many different ways, from when locks weren't even a thing to locks have become more prevalent. The way locks have taken form has changed over the years. What is your opinion on bridging, and what do you want to see?
Well, in all honesty, I've kind of gone like back and forth on it. There's some days where I like really like it, and there's some days where I just loathe it. Um, I'm also like part of the problem too, because like one of my like favorite decks, at least like in this format right now, is the Yummy Try Radiant deck. Because there is like cool concept. I like ever since I started playing, I love innovation and creativity in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think like quote unquote slop decks kind of like really exploit the whole like innovation, I guess. But like it gets to a point where like you're playing against a deck and then like you could open multiple hand traps and like you feel like even multiple hand traps or multiple forms of interaction just aren't enough anymore, and it just takes away from like just the enjoyable back and forth that you can have in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially this format, it's really like I think set the format back a bit, or just it's set back just playing in general back.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean to go to our other pillar of community here at Anything and Standby, Caleb. I mean, again, you've been in with the game probably the longest out of any of us. So, what has your experience been over the years, and what do you want to see? I mean, right now, right? I think you kind of said that you yourself have been a transgressor of the copious bridge. I mean, are you finding that it's enjoyable in the moment because of like the variety that you're doing, but overall, like where you at?
Okay, so I'm gonna take a totally different stance. I love bridges. I love the slop. I'm a pig. Let me.
Yes, sir. Hey.
uh, so here's the thing. Yu-Gi-Oh is a very unique card game. Yes, we have archetypes, and yes, the archetypes are supposed to be restrictive. And if you are committing to an archetype, you should only be able to play like almost the most generic of generic cards. And you should not be able to bridge archetypes that aren't meant to bridge into each other. Unfortunately, Konami doesn't give a shit about that. And that we have seen it time and time and time and time again, where they just keep printing cards that don't have locks, and it's getting out of control. So Konami has no plans or show any plans of stopping this uh, blatant disregard for the health of the game. And I'll say it, it's fucking fun as hell to play. And I think Yu-Gi-Oh at its core is a game that is supposed to be fun for you to play and terrible for your opponent to play against. I don't think that there are very many decks in the game or times that the game has been fun for both players to interact with each other. And I think Slop is the newest iteration of that. It is the firewall FTK, the Gumblar loop of this format. And it is so fun to go like from one bridge and then somehow you're going over here and doing Sky Striker stuff, which okay, every deck's doing Sky Striker stuff right now. But then you're like, okay, I'm making two bodies, and there's my Exoton Knight. I'm going full Fiendsmith, and then halfway through that, you're making a Gallant Granite, and it's like you're giving your opponent whiplash. And at some point, they're just like, I just want to see where this is fucking going. This is insane. And I've always been one of the spectacle of it all. Like I want to figure out like the stupid shit that I can do with these decks. So yeah, that's where I stand. I think it's fun. I don't think it's healthy whatsoever, but I don't think this game is healthy whatsoever. So I if they're gonna let me do it, I'm gonna do it.
Damned
I
if
think
you
it
do,
needs to like a
damned if you
good.
don't.
It's like a good balance, right? I feel like 2 to 3 archetypes that can work with each other. I think that's neat. Like that, I think that's enough grounds to find some sort of innovation. I think the one that struck the balance for me was like the Radiant Tri Brigade Yummy deck. I think that one's really cool. At least it still has like its own deck identity to a degree, where it's a bit of a it has that heavy combo side, but being able to use the Tri Brigade engine to bridge back and forth is pretty cool. And it has a couple weaknesses as well at the same time. Like I think it's a lot less toxic than say the Azumida Yummy deck and the Azumida Yummy Mitsurugi Radiant, like that pile. I think that's a lot more toxic than the Radiant, Trevor Brigade Yummy per se. So it really comes down to, does it still promote interactive gameplay, and does it to a certain degree start breaking the foundation of what the game's supposed to be in a given format, right? Like it's like we're throwing whatever we want to in 60 call it a day, and it's at that point, is it innovation or is it just we're all playing Go format with the strongest cards? Yeah.
I want to push back just slightly. I think that yes, the 60 card slop is is a problem, and it is like degenerate for the health of the game. But I think that there's also a trade-off for it. And as somebody that's been playing 60 card slop for the past 2 months, you don't see your side cards, or you don't see non-engine. Like, you don't have access to some of the non-searchable cards in your deck, because that's all the bridging is. It's like that you have found a way to take one part of your deck and search it into another part of your deck, and you're doing that over the course of 4 or 5 different archetypes or whatever. But then when you're going into games 2 and 3, you're putting in evenly matches, you're putting in charmies, you're putting in all this stuff. Yep. You have less of a chance of seeing those cards. And I think that the Yu-Gi-Oh community as a whole can say that side decking is one of the most toxic parts of the game as well. And so you are giving up one part of the health of the game. Like, you're not seeing your side cards nearly as often, unless you can bridge into them, for playing these bridge slop YouTube combo bullshit.
That's
kind
the
of
trade-off
strategy
that you're thinking. I mean, that's fair, honestly. I mean, it's definitely a valid point.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest problems I have, and maybe this is like the Yuki boomer that's inside me, is like, decks just don't have identities anymore once you like create that slot, right? Like, you guys all mentioned this, Alan talked about this, Grant talked about this too. Like, if we go back when when evil swarms were a thing, right? It's just a rank 4 toolbox. You have a thing that prevents higher levels from summoning out, and that's all it did, right? It played other cards that stopped you from taking cards to grave, or maybe like a lot of back row, but it had an identity at its core, right? Back when Zoo was a thing, Zoo really was contained in its own right? It's still a ring 4 toolbox. Maybe you draw 30 cards in a turn and you overwhelm your opponent with resources, but that's kind of just the overall vibe of the deck, right? Nowadays, with all these like slop decks running around, there's no identity at all. They just vomit out cards until you just can't do anything about it. And even if you have responses to it, they just play through it most of 9 out of 10 times, right? So I think that's just a problem that I have. It's like a thing where you got to keep archetypes within their own archetypes by having those locks in place. And then also on top of that as well, I kind of feel that the pure reality of slop decks even existing makes a game far too overpowered, right? I think it makes power creep go way off the rails, and I think it's a thing that is very dangerous in a card game. I've played a lot of card games in the past that have crumbled within themselves because of power creep, lost a lot of the player base because of it, and thankfully, the Yu-Gi-Oh community is very strong in its own right. So I don't think the community itself will probably leave anytime soon, hopefully not, right? But where is the next step, right? What does Konami do next to power creep this, right? Do they make even more generically powerful slop decks that can just like what Grant said, if everything's generic, right? Are like, do we need archetypes? Like, what's the point of an archetype just having a fancy name on a card? You know what I mean? So like, what's the next goal for Konami? That's kind of what I'm thinking about here.
Yeah, I think that kind of. So before we move on to the last one, I think that kind of begs the question: is there an archetype that is being played as a bridge right now that you guys feel would be better off if it wasn't bridgeable? Would it help with the bridging issue, the bridging epidemic? Is there an archetype that sticks out to you as stronger than anything else, and that if it had a proper lock, it would help balance the game a bit?
I think there's 2 big outliers right off the bat, and that's Fiendsmith and Mitsurugi. I mean, Mitsu's not nearly as bridgeable as it has been, but I think those 2 are the most insane splashable engines in the game, and they put out some very oppressive strategies in and of themselves. And I don't think Fiendsmith was ever intended to be its own archetype, just by the fact that like it doesn't necessarily do anything on its own. But it's been a problem for a year and a half. It's been in and out of viability for a year and a half now, and at some point you just have to cut your losses and say like, okay, this is being a problem, and it's continuing to be a problem, even though we're banning the cards that are like getting to it, there's just going to be more light fiends that are found. People are playing fucking Dippity.
Yeah, if only like if Fiendsmith was exclusive to Fiend decks, like different Fiend decks being able to bridge into it, fair enough. Like throw them a bone somewhere, right? But obviously some of these engines wouldn't, be designed the way they are without the intent to be bridged into. So I think like the Fiendsmith one, and we might be bleeding into a later topic, but maybe hitting the output of some of these engines if they're so easily splashable might be the solution. Like being able to ban, say, the Caesar, for example, like maybe that's one way to tackle it, right? Like it's kind of I don't say it's an not unsolvable issue, but finding the angle to solve it from is gonna be interesting. Yeah.
And I think you hit the nail right on the head there. Is like I don't think that these slop decks are bad if they're just like kind of just doing this and just going forward and forward and forward, but they're not doing anything out of it. The reason the slop is hated and the bridging is out of control is because like you can start with one archetype, get to its endpoint that bridges into another deck that gets to another endpoint that bridges to that. And so you're basically using these archetypes to put like one boss monster on board or one setup on board and then bridging into something else. And so if you're stopping that output, like then you just get stuff like Denko dolls back in the day where it's like just like light monsters that are just good generically. They're not creating like unfair game states or anything like that. They're just like being played because it's an attribute that furthers the game plan of the deck already. And I think you see that kind of with like people playing like level 3 toolbox stuff for Memento as a starter. It's not doing anything unfair. It's not putting anything broken on the board. It's just strictly your starter 8 through 11,
Right. And it's just like trying to figure out ways to make the deck building cost of adding so many engines, I think might be a way that they approach it. Like, and that gives them the idea of, okay, hitting the output means that now the deck building cost of if I want to play Fiendsmith, if Caesar's banned, I have to like dedicate half of my extra deck basically to end on like a Desiree or a Lars. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
then that's that. So at least there's a little bit more of a trade-off there, depending on that. I think like the Mitsu stuff, we could probably see a lot of the consistency get addressed to it, like hitting more prayers, hitting maybe hitting ritual down a bit. So just making it so you have to play a higher ratio of bricks to good cards. Maybe that might be the way to go about it. I don't know. It's just it's it's gonna be wild to see for sure, and we'll probably see the answer for that like in a month or two, whatever it might be. Because I think we've hit the point where they're gonna go red button and just probably purge a lot of the bridges for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing too I want to add, I think because you mentioned shutdowns as well. One of my favorite things about what Yu-Gi-Oh used to do with quote unquote slop is they would tech in engines like with shutdowns would put in the level 4 Star Seraph engine, right? The Star Seraph that adds a chair and then chair summons go
The
into
stick
like
chair,
the stick chair combos, right? And you kind of splash in engines, but you wouldn't consider it Star shutdowns, right? You would consider it still shutdowns. But now with like Radiant Typhoon, Yummy Fiendsmith has a Mina, like all these different decks, there isn't a core deck within the deck. It's just like 6 different engines or 3 different engines. Or maybe you play a little more Radiant cards than Fiendsmith cards or than Yummy cards, right? But they're still all like equally spread out where it's no like single deck. And I think that's like the part that I really am not a big fan of. I think
like the game plan.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of like a main specific thing.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
I think that like I think that's I think we got out of the good thoughts about the bridges and what's gonna go on with Yu-Gi-Oh. But honestly, hopefully Konami does address some of that stuff with the next ban list. And also going before that ban list, some of us here are gonna be going to the 3v3 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Speaking of which, one of our teams made it through the VIP qualifier, so we will be missing the first, or I guess we get to win the first 2 rounds, and we'll be ahead. But I want to know your guys' thoughts and if you're looking forward to that. Let's start with Caleb.
I'm not playing in the event, so.
But you'll be there, and you're having a good time.
I will, and returning viewers of Resurgence YGO, and specifically the Anything in Standby podcast, will know. About this time last year, we also talked about what was happening before the YCS 3v3, and I think I also said the same thing, that I'm most excited for Pina Coladas down by the pool.
Damn right.
I think the game is in a really interesting spot. I think it's cool enough, but there's a lot of BS going on, and I don't think that I'm in the minority, or even all of us are in the minority, that something needs to change. It was like a really fun format, and then
For about 6
Konami,
days.
yeah, and then Konami did some whack ass shit like they always do, and like gave us like just a little bit too much power in something, and set everything out of whack again. And we saw it when it was like the VS K9 and Draco Tail and Pure Yummy stuff, and then they like hit some of those cards, and then we got Mitsu Yummy, and VS K9 was like this really like crazy pick and all that other stuff. But they keep doing that, where it's like we had a really cool format, and then Camellia came out, and like then all this slop starts going everywhere. But even before that, we had like Dmod come out, and like then Yummy starts coming back into the format and stuff like that. And it's just been kind of whack. And I don't think that I've seen the sentiment from a lot of top players where they're just kind of fatigued that we've been playing the same format for a year and a half at this point. Maybe only a year at this point, but since Justice Hunters, it's been like the same decks, and like maybe a little bit of weirdness going on in between them. But yeah, as far as like actually wanting to play the game, I think that I'm not alone in saying that like I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna do some Magnet Warrior shenanigans and make somebody go, oh shit, that was insane. And then I'm also gonna try and deck somebody out when they double foo me. But at the end of the day, like I am ready to move on. I'm ready to go on to greener pastures.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think Team Resurge of the Henny is going to be taking home a trophy, though, and that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
And
so I
amen.
mean, we should. I guess we'll talk about. So the team right now, there's 6 folks here in this pod today. We do have we have the team here with Grant and Alan and Sarkis, all prayer be to Poseidon. That would be the team Resurge of the Henny. Great name, fantastic. They did win the VIP quali here in Oregon, so that was really cool. That's really awesome for them. Can you guys kind of give us what deck you were playing, and then, I mean, just a quick run through? Is that the deck you're going to be playing for the event?
Oh, we're leaking goo. We are.
Well, no, I mean, you don't have to
You're
leak
welcome
goo. Also, because I think besides any of you, only one of you is actually playing the same deck.
Yeah, I guess I can start off then.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like this guy's gonna pivot, Like, I mean, hey, they can't stop the storm that's approaching.
That's true.
Nah, you're right.
This is going from Water Sea Serpent to Fire Dragon. We're playing Tempire.
You'd imagine.
Rock
Hell
magnets.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Mermail for about 2.5 weeks now, and it's been a good experience. Check out the YouTube channel that you're watching this on right now for the last video just posted. That's, maybe, are we going to have a YouTube video posted between my deck profile and this?
Bro, we're a dead channel. We're not going to.
Yeah, you saw right. But yeah, going into Salem Morgan Regionals, I had some success with Mermails, and it was a really good time. So with the VIP qualifiers, I also played Mermails there. And I'm not swapping, probably. I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll go in the sloppiest way and follow the Grant Caleb route. Maybe we'll find something. I do kind of want to play some Fiendsmith. I want to play Fiendsmith cards, but that's probably not going to happen. So, yeah, definitely going to be playing.
You a bridge.
I mean, really.
I'll find you a bridge.
I'll find you a bridge. Really, shout out to Sarkis as well, because his video and his profile really shook the Mermail community. He got a profile made about his profile and how it changed the water game. So really shout out Sarkis and what he's doing with still innovating 2.5 weeks later after picking the deck up for the first time. So
he read the first Penguin after getting back in the game. He's like, damn, this card sucks. And then he just didn't put it in his list, and it shook everybody to the core.
Yeah.
Our other how about our other Resurge of the Henny members?
All right, I can go over mine pretty quick. So For the VIP, I played Yummy. Nothing else.
Yummy.
No
Wow.
other no, that's a lie. I played Radiant Typhoon, Fiendsmith, Yummy. Because I wanted a Yummy deck that could, set up some sort of summon negate. I thought that was pretty important into the Dracotail matchup. And I thought the Radiant side put up a pretty good half board, I guess, to give you like a fighting chance versus say like some of the Azamina stuff also played into Retsi, which at the time I felt like Retsi was in a significant number of people's decks, and I got double Retsied at the half case tournament, and I said I never want that to happen to me again. Lo and behold, I'm considering Dracotail for the event, but we'll see. I could play anything.
Well, I didn't
from
tell you
either,
to
like,
tell him what you just could have said, I'm not playing Yummy. I'm playing
No,
something
I mean,
else.
I was gonna mention 3 different like deck types. I mean, it doesn't really matter too
I
much.
am not playing Weather Painter.
God,
Yeah.
the
Thanks
goose
for
week.
that input, Caleb.
I mean, there's a world. It could be Dracotail. It could be a Yummy deck. It could be some sort of Radiant Mitsu slop. I'll be honest with you. That's why I don't feel too much shame in giving some leads to any potential listeners out there, because I don't even know what I'm playing. So it doesn't get more secure than that. So
There you go.
perfect, foolproof.
Yeah. So for me, I played Pure Mitsurugi on the day of, and I had like probably like one of my like greatest like performances for myself in terms of like just coming back to the game. But then after that, I kind of shot the bed with the deck. Being at the Salem Regionals, I felt like made a few mistakes on my own, but also felt like the Mitsurugi cards are really good this format. Just felt like they weren't like good enough by themselves, or like it just has to. I mean, that's kind of Yu-Gi-Oh in a nutshell. Like it kind of has to be your day, for you to win, because like a lot of things can win right now. Like I see Fire King list topping, and I'm like, and I played that deck for a little bit. I'm like, they stop your first interaction, you're kind of toast, buddy. But I still see it topping like in a bunch of different areas of the world. So like, that's it's like if you guys ever watch Blue Lock, you need that piece of luck, luck part of the,
The
game.
puzzle piece, yeah.
Yeah, the puzzle piece of luck. So I really still love the Mitsu cards, and I chose Mitsu for the event because I also too fucking hate Dracotail, and I wanted to play Impulse because Impulse, their first fusion, Ash the next, and you're like, yippee! Like, hopefully, they don't break your board and kill you. Yeah, I mean, so I wanted something a little bit more grindy in that sense. So I'm testing out some stuff with still Mitsu, but we'll see. Right now I already said it earlier in the video, so I don't really care. It's just like regular Mitsurugi Raizel. We'll see if I end up on that. I've played Pure Radiant, I've played Yummy Azamina Radiant as well. It's like I played a lot of different decks, so we'll see. But I do love the Mitsurugi cards, and I think they're really good this format. But yeah, excited to play with the boys in Vegas.
And sip some samosas beforehand too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
With
Hell yeah.
control. Okay. Moderate amounts the night before the event. All right. We're going to take it easy.
Yeah, we'll be drinking during the event to make up for the
Little
night.
brunch,
Exactly.
what's
A
wrong
So
with
flash.
that?
why are we so afraid of over drinking the night before?
Yeah. What could have possibly been?
I distinctly remember waking up in the hotel room. We were at a Murder Flats hotel. That's the motels where the door's on the outside, and it's like 700 people in a shady part of town, and you're not sure. You got the one big window, and I just remember waking up and seeing black chunks on our.
No, this is what Ben saying it. No.
Yeah, just on across the bed, and I thought one of our teammates had died in the middle of the night. So.
Damn, I'm really happy you recovered, Alan.
Well, the Patreon episode's gonna go crazy. Subscribe to the Patreon for the full story.
Yeah.
For those not there,
Pictures
it
included.
wasn't me. It wasn't me.
So, with that being said and everything, what do you think is going to do well at Vegas? Like, obviously, it's going to be Mermail, some sort of Mitsu variant, and whatever slop Grant's peddling is going to win. But what do you think that we can see as like maybe or outstanding or things that just are going to surprise the community at large? Or do you think that we've already seen like the amount of innovation that this format can give us?
I'd be interested to hear Nico's take on this because,
Okay.
I think that's Grant and Nico are pretty much tied, I think, for people who really monitor the meta and the evolution of the meta and kind of predicting or where the forward momentum shifted. So, I'd like to hear what he has to say in terms of what he think will make an appearance there.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, it's easy to go to like the slot decks, right? I mean, the Grant specials.
That's
but-
not even doing
Wait
it.
a minute, why?
I'm the only one on slop anymore.
This
I
guy's
mean,
still
is my
slopping.
memento build slot? It's V. It's got.
No, you just play it sloppy.
Oh wow.
Why are
Oh.
y'all trying to be the sloppiest? Okay.
For those of you keeping track, there is 2 memento mentions in this episode so far. No, but like honestly, it's like the realist in me. It wants to like believe that Dracotel is going to be the most high represented deck, because it has been for these past X amount of regionals that have happened in this season. But I don't think it'll win either. I do think that it'll be some type of yummy variant, or you want to know what? Maybe I am a memento believer. I think I've been
That's 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
3. I just think that like, decks with those types of ceilings are probably like the favorite to win, especially in like a group setting. But I mean, the realist in me wants and sees Branded Dracotel being the deck, but I know Grant's gonna prove me otherwise. So the things I'm gonna say is completely irrelevant because
No.
I'm waiting for his like V9,
So I have an interesting, well, probably not interesting take. So I think we're obviously going to see Branded Dragotel like show up in Top Cut significantly, just based on the number of people who play the deck. But usually when it gets to that Top Cut situation, the decks that have a good matchup into Dracotail have a higher chance of winning the whole event. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like a Radiant Typhoon win, kind of I think similar to Sydney and how that played out. That's probably my pick. Is probably some sort of pure Radiant Typhoon deck. I'm personally not a big fan of the deck, and like I'm not the biggest believer in it, but it has a pretty solid Dracotail matchup, and all it takes is a good pilot to decide to bring that deck that day and make it the top 8, and then from that point on, it's they have a pretty decent edge into probably the most represented deck in the room, bar the slot piles, which I don't think there's going to be a ton of slot piles, but I could be proven wrong. We could see we could see some heinous shit on the feature matches and eat our words and slop.
Do you think that the 3v3 format kind of accounts for the for what you're describing with like, oh, this deck is the most represented, and so the decks that beat it are going to have a natural edge in top 8 because of the 3v3 format?
That's a good point. I'd like to think my take still probably sticks, especially with a lot of these high level players. They tend to often take the same deck or at least similar variations of that deck to these events, which kind of helps them, from my understanding, kind of coordinate with each other and be in the same headspace when they're game planning in the middle of the match. So I wouldn't be surprised if on average the people who are most likely to win said event are also more likely to play the same, if not similar decks as their teammates. So I think that still probably carries over in the same way like a normal like one player to one player regular tournament would carry out, right? So
Fair.
that's my thought at least. So I think we'll probably see. I mean, I guess supposedly a team of Radiant players just go in and kick some dragons around, and that'll be a good time.
Some Radiant gamers. Well, that's kind of YCS Vegas. I think the 3v3s are always super fun. Like if you haven't gone to a 3v3 tournament, like go do it. It's fun. It's a good time. My locals out here has been hosting 3v3 nights once a week, and we've been doing some in-houses every once in a while as well. I haven't been participating because I'm a loner, and I smell bad. But
Valid.
yeah, looking forward after YCS Vegas. The future of Yu-Gi-Oh. We've kind of already talked about like where things are going, but I just kind of want to go over like what I don't want to do full ban list predictions or anything like that. We'll save that for another lost episode that we do in the future. But what are some like light things, like stuff that you think needs to be addressed in the game on the next ban list for the game to progress in a good
No. I mean, I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, you spoke first, so
you have the mic.
We'll go. So I got three. The three things that just need to go. Right. It's got to be. I'll make this one the most generalized one, which is just multiple hits to Yummy. Prayers has to go, and I would say some iteration of Striker. Now, if we talk about just real quickly to touch on bridges, of all the bridges that I think are okay or allowable, and to go back to what Caleb was saying earlier about bridges that kind of just spin the wheels to further the game state and not to establish like broken pieces, I think the Sky Striker stuff is the most fair. Because you're typically you're making a 0, which really just gets you to Ray, which if you're not playing Striker, you're probably using that to make like an Exciton or whatever, what have you. So I think that that's fair, but I do think that the consistency in just pure Striker or things which are heavier Striker coded, like Striker Mitsu, do need to be touched. They just need to get hit a little bit. That's all.
I guess like the hits that. So what the main question was, is the hits for sure we want to see.
yeah,
have
just
to
like
have happen.
things that like need to be addressed, not like specific hits or anything like that, but like things that just need to be addressed on in the next patch notes.
I think for sure a drones ban would be pretty good. So at least we can get rid of one one way to Cupsy, which is arguably the most generic, which is any two bodies, right? I think that's a pretty good and safe hit to make that would help out the game. I think we're once again cold take. I think Caesar's finally gonna kick the bucket. It just makes the most sense. And then I guess the last one in terms of God, I guess like it's not really like a brave take for
I
the
lied.
Hotel deck. What's up?
I lied.
What's
Ash.
up?
Oh,
Ash.
Oh, the Ash ban.
Ash.
I'm down
Ash.
for an Ash ban.
Ash
Let's
ban.
do it.
At least a limit, please.
Called by the Grave too. Yeah.
Yep. Called by cross out Ash.
Ash is like one of the worst hand traps to see as a card going second, but is a great going first card to stop a very important card family, aka the Moltrimes. So get that shit out of here.
Yeah, I guess that kind of brings me into that next point. It seems like everybody in the call is kind of for banning of Ash, or at least like a hit of Ash. But how do we feel about like the health of other generic cards? Things like Shifter or Defissure, or to kind of these floodgates that are still kind of creeping up. Spell Canceller, things like that.
Somebody still
I
making
don't like
Spell
him.
Counselor in 2026?
Not a big fan of them. Not gonna lie.
yeah.
I could see them. They might do okay. They wouldn't ban Di-Fi on the next list. They would do the Konami special and just like put it to 1. So then when you see it, you're even more pissed off. But hey,
Yeah.
anything searchable with Alan Bershin though at the end of the day. So I'm not complaining.
That's fair. That's fair.
Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. One of our friends at our locals made a statement saying like he doesn't really like the idea of like limited cards. And I'm kind of for like that would be an interesting concept to me, because I feel like if you're putting a card to 1, at that point it's like it makes the game a lot more stacky, which yes, so like you do have to draw it and see it, and that's kind of part of the game. But also if you're putting it at 1, it's a problem, but it's like giving it like a kind of slap on the wrist in a sense, like not fully taking a game, but it makes those cards like it makes losing to those cards way more frustrating. Like, oh, he had the called by. Our friend William Wan literally rants every single fucking day about called by, and it's fair because the card's broken and it's at 1. It's like, oh, if it was at 3, sure, it's still broken, but like they're seeing it more, and yeah. So like cards like that, in some aspects, I feel like limited cards like that we know are really good in the format, or just generically good, or maybe it might be in archetype stuff, maybe sometimes too, but like stuff like those generic ones, I think should just go, like Shifter, Call Die, Cross Out, stuff that like.
I kind of want to push back on that a little bit. Like, I think for generic cards that makes sense, But like, I think when it comes to engine pieces, like the difference between 3 and 1 Holly Sue is like astronomical. Like, because it hurts your grind game quite a bit if that card is taken out of commission whatsoever. Whereas if you have 3 of them, like it's like you don't really care. Like you just send it off for Eggsy's fodder all the time. And it fundamentally changes the way that VS is played because like you are constantly trying to keep your Holly Suit in rotation.
Right. I agree. I think because Holly Sue was so broken, right? They put it to 1. So I'm saying the generic stuff that's really good, that's at 1, should just be banned. I say in-engine stuff is fine. Like that makes Holly Sue is a really good card. It's put to 1, sure. So you can still have Holly Sue, but it's not out of the game. That's where I see it.
I can see that. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sarkis, give me your like Santa came down the chimney and gave you 1 ban list hit. What are we doing?
I think honestly, I'm not super passionate about any one specific thing getting banned. I just don't.
Oh, it could be something coming back. It could be something coming back.
I'm not a big fan of any card that says you can't use this type of mechanic in the game. I'm a little bit of a hypocrite in playing the turtle myself, but I despise playing it. In my profile, I even said I don't have fun playing it. People don't have fun playing against it. But things like Spell Canceller, things like Di-Fi, like any macro type effect, Shifter, fuck that shit. Get that shit out of the game. So anything that just says you can't mechanically play some part of Yu-Gi-Oh, I just don't think it belongs in this type of card game.
Yeah, fuck Shifter. My grandma died of Shifter.
Yeah, she got hit by a Shifter. Rest
in peace, my grandma.
Grandma got ran over by a shifter.
Yeah, so I don't know. Anything like that, I'm just not a big fan of it.
Yeah,
Fair,
can't believe
fair.
Grandma went to the banish zone. It's kind of fucked up.
Nico, any last minute thoughts regarding future hits or anything to make the game healthier?
Well, first of all, there was so much aggression from Sarkis. I love it, Sarkis. I love you. Listen, man. I've been such a big advocate for them to, instead of hitting these cards like Gravity Controller, Hornet Drones, the cards that have been listed so far that go into the Yummy combos, I'm a big advocate for them just banning Cups of Yummy Way, the Synchro, to deny them access to the cards that like provide you the full Yummy combo. Because then it allows those cards to just like stay and like have a place like elsewhere that doesn't involve them going into, arguably the best, the best archetype right now currently in the game. So that would be something.
Magnet Warrior?
Funny way of saying my
You're mentally ill. You're mentally ill.
I am.
but yeah, something like that. Obviously, like I have a ton of more things I could probably like talk about that I think should probably like be hit, not come off. You know what I mean? Maybe that might be a special like sister podcast called Bricking or something. But yeah. I think hitting those. Yeah, bro, bricking. Is that a problem?
Everybody,
no one's been right after this. No one's been bricked up during this podcast.
Yo.
So, looking forward even past the ban list, we have a big set coming up in Blazing Dominion. And we still have a little bit ways to go, and obviously a big tournament, a couple other tournaments coming up, and all that other stuff. But how are we looking with Blazing Dominion? You guys excited for it? Like, are we going to see a big shakeup? Are we going to see the same old? Yeah. Austin, you watch OCG stuff. You start.
Yeah, I mean, so I think Blazing Dominion's a really interesting set because one of the decks that it enables is Cool Tune. If anyone's not familiar with this deck, this is a deck of all tuners that really it puts up some interesting interactions and in terms of a top deck manipulation, extra deck manipulation. It has a pop. It has like your quintessential ones like a pop and a bounce and such. But I think what's really interesting about Blazing Dominion is that in a way the ability or Konami enabling a deck like Cool Tune with targeted extra deck manipulation coming in Blazing Dominion means that a lot of these slop decks that do play these bridges kind of get targeted, right? So now you have, I think what makes Cool Tune super unique and what makes it such an interesting deck is that it's a real skill expression because it goes beyond the deck that you're playing and how much do you understand the meta around you. Because if you realize that you're playing a deck that, plays bridges or what have you, then you really can take that information and like target certain things. So I think that that's really neat. It's also a deck that, it does die to, I think, not die, but it is hurt tremendously by Fua, which I think it's not unique in that situation, but I think the deck is really enabled really well to play on your opponent's turn. So a half board looks very different in a deck like that than it would in any other deck, because you don't need much presence on the board at the time when you're passing, right? So I think that that's really cool. I think that that's super unique, and I look forward to seeing that. And then, of course, we get somehow, despite all of its um, disadvantages, 2 Medius decks are going to become really relevant. Our Artmage tried, and it did see some relevancy for a little bit and a few tops and event wins, but I think what's really interesting is that the 2 other decks that have not seen success up until this point are going to skyrocket to a point of high success potentially, and that's, of course, goes in hands with the ban list. So I think that's just going to be really interesting, and then we get one of the most broken hand traps that's come out in Federalis. So.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I think
I have
that's
no
a
idea
good
what to
recap.
play.
Grant, I have no idea what to play.
I don't know what I'm doing. We'll figure it out.
Just join.
I think that's what's fun about the new format, right? Because here's what my whole thing. I'm really excited for this set because me, myself, and also Austin are buying a case of this set. And I think it's going to be a big shakeup to the meta, especially if they do what I'm hoping for, which is a slaughter list. I want Draco Tail, I want Mitsu, I want Yumi, I want literally everything that is good right now to get hit by get isekai'd out of this world, bro. I want you to get hit by Truck-kun, just killing all them bitches. Like 5 minutes out of there. Fucking cups Yumi way, fucking stepped on in the road. Like get these hoes out of there, washed, bro.
Damn. Bro.
Anyways, so and then we'll have a good
is
like
Yumi way canonically a hoe?
Yes. Anyways, anyways, so we'd have like Cooltoon, Doomsy, and Elfno, all these new strategies that are pretty not like super xenophobic, but they are kind of they're like you can bridge like Fiendsmith with Elfno, that's fine. But like Cooltoon kind of does its own thing. It's a little bit with Doomsy.
We lost him.
Well put.
It's really cool. And like we said, Federalis is going to be crazy, especially for like synchro type decks.
Nobody say anything.
Or decks that don't care about their extra decks, so like Mitsurugi. All right. And then we're gonna be getting also a Dominus Spark, which is a crazy card in itself. That also like hits mainly, or you can mainly use it in like the strongest attributes in the game, either lights or darks, which is crazy. And that card's really cool in itself. You also get a generic trap card that's really good, being Solemn Report. That I think that card's crazy. I think that is a crazy going first card, and I think it's really cool. And then yeah, just a bunch of good support cards for the 3 archetypes I mentioned, and I hope it really changes the metagame.
I was really hoping we would end up in one of those like really bad lip sync movies where the lips were doing this, but the voice was dismembered.
Yeah, it's a dubbed version of the podcast. Yeah.
There you go. So, all right. Well,
wait,
I
hold on.
think
Nico spoke up. What was that?
No, I was just saying how inspirational that was, bro. That's it.
True. So true.
All right. Well, I think that's a pretty good wrap on everything. We got what's going on right now and how slop is the best thing to ever happen to the game. We got Vegas,
bro was not Vegas. Listening.
And we decided that everything that everybody else is playing is bad, and everything that I am playing is good. So I think that's a great place to leave off. And let's do some shout outs. I'm just going to start from my top left and just work my way down. Grant, how can people find you if they want to talk to you? And yeah,
they don't.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, God, what information do I want to give out? That's a great question.
Well, his address is.
I think in the past you've given out your dueling book name, but
dueling book. Oh, I guess that's true. Dueling book. High Velocity Boy. Yeah, look it up if you want to. Get some games.
Yeah, I mean,
in.
I think
Probably not.
to shout out Grant, because if you've watched any of the podcast episodes at this point, or if you watched the two most recent deck profiles, Grant does our thumbnail art, right? Shout out Grant for
True.
probably what has unanimously been hailed as the best Murakumo art ever. You know, even better than the card
Yep.
itself, right? And
Broke the internet.
also shout
Yep.
out for handsome Sarkis.
Exactly. And
True.
I didn't even look up a picture of Neptibus. I closed my eyes, imagined Sarkis, and I let the mouse guide itself. and that's how we created the thumbnail.
He's like, by
And
the
the
end of
armor,
it,
I
my
was like,
shirt
I
was
guess
off
we gotta
by
throw
after
some
a
armor
while.
on, and we can't just post that on on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like the armor was an afterthought, but you know we were pretty close to greatness.
But can you explain why your shirt was off by the end of it?
Austin, what about you? Shout yourself out.
Yeah, you can find me here. You can find me on my dead Twitch at Assassin by Day. I am not gonna lie, I actually have been having the itch. I've finally secured myself in my job and don't feel like I'm gonna get fired any one of these days. So I am going to. Well, I got to buy a new graphics card first, but I will be attempting to return to Twitch here soon. I think it's time. The world's been asking for it. Particularly Nico's mom's been asking for it. So I just think I think I should just do that. I'm also in the future. I've really been getting into anime because Nico and I are like anime rivals. So I'm going to build out my anime list, and I'll link that in the future. So just be on the lookout for that. So that'll have like my thoughts, reviews about animes and stuff.
Nico, do you want to shout yourself out?
I wanted to, and then he just started talking more. Listen. All I'll say is, man, listen. Great Yu-Gi-Oh times ahead, bro. You know, full arts will break the game. You know what I'm saying? You can find me in Austin's DMs later.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Listen, the last thing I'll say is I don't like Grant, bro.
Okay, well.
Trust me,
strays,
you're not
strays.
Damn.
Sarkis, how about you?
I don't even know if I want to be here anymore. Yeah, shout out to Grant for the great thumbnails, great creativity behind the YouTube formations. Shout out Austin making a successful sound check. Caleb with a banger intro to today's video that you guys will not be watching because that's
You will never see.
Guys, we can do it. We can still do a banlist prediction tier list. We can still do
This
that.
is true.
Oh,
No, this is
nah.
true. Shout out to Alan for destroying his arms recording my deck profile. That man gets stronger with every single profile. His biceps are looking enormous by the day. And I don't think there's anyone else I need to shout out here. I think I list all 4 important members outside of myself. So yeah, so shout out to all actually Kyle for letting me borrow cards.
Shout out Nico's mom for giving birth to Nico.
Oh right, yeah, Nico. Shout out to Nico, man. He was like texting and shit. That was hype.
Bro, we need to do a super battle golf.
I'm going to leak
everyone.
Oh my god,
bro.
All right, I'm
Bro,
gonna shout out everyone here. I love every single one of you. Thank you guys for recording this podcast.
Caleb,
may or may not drop.
Well, we got to get Caleb because he's in his content creation phase right now.
Oh, that's true. Caleb will close us out with his shout outs.
All right. Well, yeah, you can find me over on my YouTube at Calica. I run 2 other podcasts. One is called The Friendly Fire Show that I just started as of a couple days ago. The other one is called Habakiri. No, the other one's called SC Pod. Has its own YouTube channel, has its own Spotify thing.
What was the first one called?
The Friendly Fire Show. It's on my personal YouTube at Calica. So, yeah, but with that being said, comment down below if you want to see more of this. For every comment we get on this episode, we will record another episode. No idea when, but yeah.
I'll hold us to it. Even if it's just us, 1 or 2 of us in here, just discussing which card is hotter between the between the
All right,
mermail.
bye guys. Have a good night.
No, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put another mermail card on the thumbnail, so those 5 water players that subscribe to the channel click on this video. So we're guaranteed at least 5 views.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
That's
All
my
right.
goat.
And until next time, anything in standby. Scene.